Welcome into another episode of the AMP Podcast. This is an extension of the AMP program, the training program through Red One Realty, the agent mentorship platform. That's available to all the agents through Red One, agents that are interested in becoming a Red One agent. But on this podcast, we actually peel back the onion, if you will. We give you some insight. We talk a lot about a lot of the things that are discussed during the training. And so you'll get some valuable insight. We talk everything and anything about real estate, from buying to selling to investing. We talk about life. You'll find out some personal things about each of us. And hopefully over the course of the time, we'll get to know you a little bit better as well. This week's title of the episode is Driving the Dream, and we're going to have some fun with this and dabble into some personal interest, of course, as we often do with those that are listening. And for those of you who might be looking at real estate as a profession, perhaps share some valuable insight as to what it might take for you to drive that dream. My name is James Minter with Buckeye Media Services. Joining me here at the table, the Doctor of Real Estate, Mark Dandrea and Justin Humphreys. Gentlemen, last week's episode, Know, Like, Trust, really started to let you see what we do in our lives, families, and all that kind of stuff. We're going to expand upon that even a little bit more tonight, but just want you to get to know a little bit about us every week and share a little bit of insight into the world of real estate, not just for buyers and sellers, but also for real estate agents as well. Now, last time we shared some of our favorite recipes. We talked about family, touch base on some of our fears, or at least some of the scary movies that we enjoyed watching then and even still today. And I just want to encourage you to look back into the archives again. The first episode there was Know, Like, Trust, and today's episode is Driving the Dream. Now, gentlemen, before we go much further, let's take a moment just to share your contact information with our audience. So, Justin?
Yeah, you can find me at Humphreys Homes on Facebook, @_Humphreys Homes on Instagram. You can find the AMP platform. We have a great website. Mark will fill us in on that. And Red One Realty, if you're interested in, learning more about real estate or getting your license, you can find us at redoneagent.com.
And Mark?
You can find me at markdandrea.redonerealty.com. There's also doctorofrealestate.net. Those both tie together. And you can also reach me at 614-395-6275. And my email address is doctorofrealestate1@gmail.com. DOCTOROFREALESTATE, the numeral 1, @gmail.com. When I get on with folks and I give that to them, a lot of computers want to shorten doctor, DOCTOR, to DR.
Right.
And I have to tell people, don't let your computer do that because I'll never see that. So anyway, it's the spelled out doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. All right, let's take a moment to talk about this week's sponsors of the program. Vault Title and Griffith Insurance Group. You will hear more from them in the commercials that we'll have running throughout the program. But let's give them some extra love. Justin, you want to talk about Vault Title?
Vault Title is at Red One Realty. They're our in-house title company. It doesn't mean only Red One agents can use them. I encourage everyone to use them. But Vault Title does an outstanding job. Anything that you need in relation to title services, you can find them at team@vault-title.com. Nicole, Sally, Alicia, all the ladies back there in the office, they do an incredible job. Their service is top-notch. Their fees are low. I can't say enough good things about Vault Title, so I highly encourage anybody in need of title services to use them.
And Mark, quick live plug on Griffith Insurance Group.
Griffith Insurance Group. James, I've known Scott and Jason Griffith for a really long time, probably it's going on 30 years now. I'm getting old, so I'm forgetting. Jason grew up with my son. Scott and I have known each other forever. I've assisted him with some of his real estate needs, and these are guys that provide top-shelf service. I can text them anytime. Their clients can text them anytime or call them anytime. They get back with you very quickly. They're also very good at understanding the individual needs, right? Because everybody's different, and they find a way to dovetail in with their clients extremely well. It's just great service. Two great guys. They run it together. It's a father and son team, and I couldn't recommend them more. I have all my insurances with them. So
as do I. Got home and auto, my motorcycles. And one thing I'll say about Scott, and my wife is probably listening to this, but he just does a great job of working with her. She's always skeptical. Anybody I bring to her and is like, yeah, I have somebody from my networking group or somebody that I met that I think I'm going to have them handle our insurance. She's like, oh, okay. But he quickly won her over. Just his demeanor and the way he handles things. He's very responsive, and he talks to her one-on-one, accessible to her. Tells her all the time, just call me, anything. If James isn't available, you just give me a call. I'll take care of you.
Respectful, professional, but here's the skinny, so to speak. That's Scott Griffith all over.
So there are our sponsors for this week, Vault Title and Griffith Insurance. Anything related to title services, please call Vault Title. Anything that you need for home or auto or even special toys, motorcycles, jet skis, boats, Griffith Insurance Group. Now, the AMP Podcast, it is not just for the average Joe or Jane home buyer. This is intended to serve as a valuable resource of information for, again, the home buyers and sellers, of course, but also real estate agents. And I should clarify, it's not just for Red One Realty agents either, but any agents. I mean, you got a desire to join Red One Realty. I am sure that Mark and Justin will be more than happy to have that conversation with you.
We'll roll out the red carpet.
Yeah, we love bringing agents in, giving them the tour of the office and the rundown. I think Mark and I did that twice just this week. So we love bringing in agents from outside our brokerage to come and sit in and see what we do at Red One Realty and on the AMP platform.
And again, the AMP Podcast is an extension of the Agent Mentorship Program or the Agent Mentorship Platform, which offers some specialized training for real estate agents and some valuable insights for people that are looking to buy or sell homes. But you guys want to take a moment just to highlight for the listeners some more information about AMP, kind of what you guys do weekly, what services and training that you provide through the AMP program? Mark?
James, that's a great question. So as we mentioned on the last episode, AMP's been around for over 30 years. It's evolved quite a bit, and we have found ourselves wanting to pay attention, much more attention to small business owners. And by that, I mean real estate agents. And small business owners have a lot going on. They have everything that you and I and Justin and everybody else listening to this podcast have going on. They've got a family. They have a faith in their life, even if it's in themselves. They've got a social life. And many agents have work outside of real estate, and in no way, shape, or form affects their ability to provide a service. So we very much focus on dovetailing, being of utmost assistance and service to our clients with our AMP agents, but also having an understanding that that's got to fit in well with what they have going on in their lives. So I think the best answer I could give you right now that AMP is focused on and very different from perhaps any other coaching platform that an agent might experience. We have on the second and fourth Thursday of the month, we train at 6:00. It's in the training center at the Red One office in Westerville. That is recorded on a platform that we've created. It gets sent out to all the agents. So if they can't make it, can't be there in person, can't listen in, everybody that's made available to them. 4 Tuesdays a month. So 2 Thursdays, 4 Tuesdays, 6:00. One of the leaders of the AMP system or the AMP platform, it is also a system, but one of the leaders of the AMP platform goes over another training topic. And then on one Saturday morning, we try to avoid Buckeye game Saturdays, but one Saturday morning a month from 10 to noon, we bring in food to the training room and we'll train on a particular topic. And then we take it a step further. And there's a tremendous amount of individualized one-on-one coaching. I take on a number of the agents, 30 minutes to an hour once a week and go through our platform, our specific and exclusive training schedule. And all of the other leaders, as well as myself, have live office hours. We're trying to cover every day of the week. So we'll get onto the platform we created called the AMP Circle and be there on the phone for an hour. Any agent can call in at any time and be right on the call with us. So it really is about making ourselves as available to agents to answer questions, to assist them through a transaction so they can assist their clients in the best way possible. So it's real time. It's consistent. There's a lot of information to share, and we're very proud of the fact that we're extremely available as coaches to the entire team.
Justin, anything else you want to add?
I think Mark captured that beautifully. Connecting with agents daily by way of one-on-one Zooms. weekly by way of our Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday trainings. And we have a platform called Circle that is exclusive to AMP members, where we're supporting agents literally 24/7 for anything they need. So yeah, it's all around support, mentorship, training, everything that I wished I had when I was a new agent.
I want to dovetail with that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
I've heard that so often, and we talk about this. Red One offers some wonderful classes. Survive and Thrive is the name of one of them.
Boot camp.
The boot camp is the name of the other one. And there's a lot of information disseminated to an agent. We'll talk about new agents for now, to new agents when they first get their license. And there's a lot of discussion about, okay, I've gone to school, I've studied hard, I've passed all of the written and oral examinations at Hondros or wherever they attend. I get a brokerage to sponsor me for my license and go to the exam, I pass it. James, it hits you real quick. Now what? You've joined a brokerage. There's certainly an expectation that relationship is starting between a broker and their agent. These agents are self-employed, subcontractors. You're not clocking in, you're not clocking out. You've got to drive that business, but there really is a very big, now what? What do I do to start, market, maintain, grow, and sustain a real estate business for me and my family by being of utmost assistance to our clients? That now what is what AMP answers to. And if we can engage with agents when they first obtain their license, we believe this, we know it to be true, we have the stats to prove it, we can get agents started off on the right foot so they can grow the business that they envisioned when they said, hey, I'm going to go to school and get my license. There you go.
Thanks for sharing, Mark. And for those of you listening, maybe for the first time, we're going to be talking about the AMP program, or the Agent Mentorship Platform is the proper way to identify it. But, we'll be talking about some aspects of that every week as part of the program. It is a very unique, one-of-a-kind type training program that can really jumpstart your career. Even if you've already been in real estate for a while, this is something that you're probably going to learn something new from through the AMP program, or in listening to the podcast and the wisdom that's being imparted by Mark and Justin and the guests that we will have in the weeks ahead. But just trying to, get you aligned with a good mentor through the AMP program. Several, not just Mark and Justin, there are several that will help you to guide you through the process, help you get your business going in the direction that you want it to go. Now, we are up against our first break, so we'll take a break. But when we come back, something fun. We're going to talk something about cars. Thanks for listening to the AMP Podcast.
The Griffith Insurance Group. They're more than just a family business. They're your family safety net. With over 34 years of combined experience, Scott and Jason know everyone is different. That's why they take the time to understand individual situations and craft their coverage that gives you peace of mind. Whether it's protecting your home, your vehicle, or your business, they're here to ensure that you're covered. At the Griffith Insurance Group, they're not just a father-son team. They're trusted partners in safeguarding your future. Experience the difference of a family-focused approach. Contact the Griffith Insurance Group today and let them help you secure your tomorrow. 740-936-4686 is the phone number, and online at griffithinsurance.net. That's griffithinsurance.net.
Red One Realty, an independent brokerage founded in 2019, is redefining what it means to support agents. With nearly 1,000 agents already on board, Red One Realty offers an unbeatable combination of value and opportunity, helping agents close more deals while keeping more of their hard-earned commissions. Red One Realty sets itself apart by its commitment to exceptional training, cutting-edge technology, and unmatched support. From intensive boot camp training to Survive and Thrive training series and the Next Level Agent Mentorship Program, they provide the tools and guidance to help agents grow their business. Plus, with the multiple layers of management always ready to assist, you'll never feel like you're navigating the real estate world alone. Discover why so many agents are choosing Red One Realty to take their career to new heights at joinred1realty.com. That's joinred1realty.com.
Hi guys, today's episode is sponsored by Vault Title. At Vault Title, they know your home is more than just four walls. It's your investment, your future, and your dream. With our dedicated team of experts, we provide secure, reliable title and closing services that protect your most valuable asset. From the first handshake to the final signature, Vault Title is here every step of the way, making sure your closing is seamless and stress-free. Vault Title, protecting your dream, safeguarding your future. When it comes to title services, trust that team that puts you first. Vault-title.com. That's VAULT-TITLE.com.
Welcome back into the AMP podcast. I'm James Mentor, along with Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate, and Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes. This week's episode is titled Driving the Dream. And I thought with a play on words, on our first episode, we kind of touched on some of our interest, our love for cars. So this week, I thought we might go back and go a little bit deeper on that personal question about, either your first car or what was it, and or if you had a car or a truck that was your favorite. So, Justin, I'm going to let you lead first. Your first car, your favorite car or truck?
Well, my first car, so, I was born in 89. So I didn't get the cool cars that you guys did when you were growing up. But
what are you trying to say?
Well, you come from a better generation of cars. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So my first car was actually and I got this car when I would have been a sophomore, I think. I was 16. So that would have been like 2005. And it was a 2001 Toyota Solara, which was a beautiful car. I still love that car. I want to buy another one, actually, because I loved it so much. It's a little coupe. It looks like kind of like a Lexus. It's the coupe version of the Camry. Mine was 4 years old, had tints. It was cherry red, two-seater with leather interior. Had a good sound system, had a sunroof.
You were living, man.
Oh, man. People were jealous when I pulled into school.
Of course they were.
But I loved that car. I still love coupes to this day, fun little coupes to ride around in on the weekend to this day because of that car. So that was my first car and loved that car. A lot of first car stories or horror stories. Mine was a dream come true. As far as my favorite car goes, I kind of go back and forth between the 69 Charger and the 1970 Dodge Challenger. Mark and I were talking about this the other day at the office. A couple of the most, classic muscle cars out there, American Spirit. Movies like Vanishing Point, the 1970s Australian car movie, racing movie, Death Proof. The Challenger is just one of those aggressive body styles, big engine, 426
for sure.
cubic inch, 6 liter, whatever. I'm not sure on the mechanical aspect. You could probably fill me in on that, Mark. But so the 69 Charger or the 70 Challenger, those are my A1 1A and 1B for favorite car of all time.
And Mark, your first car and or your favorite car that you've owned?
Justin reminded me of something. He said, it was a great car, ran great, and all that good stuff. And I was so eager to tell this story. So my first car, I was 16 years old, working at McDonald's on Maple Canyon. James, you know where that is. Justin, you probably know where it is. First job, 16 years old. And what do you do with your paycheck other than spend it on frivolous stuff? I was saving my paychecks. And I accumulated, for the car guys out there and girls out there, this is going to drive you crazy. But if you're as old as I am, you'll remember these days. With $850, I went out and bought a 1967 Chevelle SS.
Wow, $850.
Gold original paint, black interior, 4-speed, Muncie M22 Rock Crusher transmission, 396 turbojet. It was an absolutely scary car. I drive it to work. My brother had assisted me in putting turbo mufflers on it and straight pipes, and it was loud. I pull up, park it, go in, work my shift, come out, and of course it won't start. And I think it was because the lockout in the transmission wasn't working properly, and it wasn't going to start in gear, and I couldn't get it back out of gear. So unlike your story, Justin, where everything ran perfectly, this one didn't. It did. I got it going the next day, but I probably didn't own that car for more than 3 months. My parents were not happy. They weren't happy with my brother, who's 5 years older than me, went with me to look at the car, and I think they expected him to advise me differently than to purchase that. But that was my first car. I sold it for $1,000 to another McDonald's worker. I don't know if he still has it today. He probably regrets it if he doesn't. I know I regret not still owning it. As it relates to my favorite car that we've owned,
Yes.
1968 Shelby GT 500 KR stands for King of the Road. Lovely car, fastback, white. So it's called Wimbledon white. Did not have the blue stripes on it because it didn't come that way from the factory. 428 Cobra Jet, 4-speed. Used to scare the heck out of the kids when we drove it. My daughter can tell you stories about how frightened she was to be in that car. Loved it. Still love it to this day. I did sell it. I've sold all classic cars that my family has owned. The positive there is you always make money. The negative is you always look back and wish you still had them. So that's probably my favorite car.
Man, I wish you still had it.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I drove that. I still had that car when I was working at Dominion Homes at the time. It's now Pulte. And David Borer, one of the owners of Dominion Homes at the time, had a 1960, I think it was a 1967. It may have been a 69. Forgive me, David, for not getting this right. With a 427 tri-power, so triple carbs. And we were talking one day about cars, and he said, I'll drive mine if you drive yours. So we parked right next to each other in the Dominion Homes parking lot, and it was like our own little car show. We had a blast with that. So anyway, that's my favorite car that we've owned.
My first car was a 79 Monte Carlo, had a Holly 4-barrel in it, nice rims on it, tinted windows, sunroof. I had that one for a long time. My dad was in this thing where he was getting rid of cars every 10 years. He turned in a 69 Camaro for a 79 Monte Carlo, and that was the first year that they were fiberglass. The year before that, in 78, was the last year that they were metal. That was my first car that I had. Probably my favorite car or truck all time to date for me was a 2010 Jeep Commander. That was actually the last year that they made it, and I didn't buy it until like 2014, and I held on to it till 2018. But that thing had a huge cabin space. I felt like I could get through anything. I didn't care if it was 10 feet of snow. I was ready to go.
Which body style is that, the Commander? Because
Really boxy and big.
That was the big one.
Yeah, biggest one they made at the time. And then they stopped making it. I'm sure it had something to do with fuel efficiency. I think I got, I don't know, maybe 18 miles to the gallon, 22 on the interstate. But I'll say this, I'm a big guy, and it was by far the most comfortable, most spacious vehicle I've ever been in. Still.
My son-in-law owned one of those. Cody owned one of those. He sold it to one of my son's best friends, and he still drives it today. And that thing, they'll run forever if you take care of them.
I'd still have it today. I got rid of it so I could have a true third seat. It had a third seat, but only if you were like an 8-year-old with short legs. But I ended up getting a Honda Pilot, which had a true third row to accommodate adults. And I think I might have used the back seat for maybe 2 trips with the entire family. And after that, we pretty much took all of our road trips in the van. And I miss having that Jeep every day.
That's why my son-in-law got rid of his, because they started having kids.
Yeah, I pretty much tease my dad all the time. I'm like, how much do you regret getting rid of that 69 Camaro?
What a classic, the 60s era of cars, and even some of the very early 70s. I mean, just the concepts and the design and the engineering was iconic.
Without a doubt.
I know that kind of trailed off into the 70s and definitely into the 80s, but what a generation of cars. That's why I'm jealous that I wasn't born in that era to experience them.
One of the things I enjoyed most about both the 79 Monte Carlo and even my 89 Cavalier was the fact that I could change my own oil and change my own spark plugs. Just the fact that I could work on them. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, a lot of the car people will tell you that the last year of the true muscle car was 1970. Of course, there's debates about that. But it went from the 50s. Ford had the Thunderbolt. Chevy had the Biscayne. The Impala actually was pretty powerful back in the late 50s. But all through the 60s and into early 1970. And because you're too young to remember this, the reason it all went away was because of gas mileage and emissions.
Right. Now you know. He's a wealth of knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. But in all seriousness, we're going to have questions like that, things so you can get to know and understand us a little bit more on this end, but just to build a relationship, just to have fun. And maybe we'll open things up, emails, and possibly down the road maybe even a phone line so you can have a live response. You can ask them questions. We will be fielding questions from agents I know in the weeks ahead, making that a part of the show. All right, with the AMP podcast, again, it's an extension of the agent mentorship platform. That is a training that goes on with Red One Realty and what they do to work with their agents, those coming into Red One Realty and agents that are involved with the program. But ultimately, that program, that training is all about helping you to become better professionally as a person that markets real estate services and what you can do to super serve your clients. Now, we all know, and we'll probably talk about this several times, but it's hard sometimes to find that perfect fit for not only the real estate agent, but maybe the real estate agent, might have a client that is more challenging than another, and that's going to happen. But maybe the next thing that we'll start with is asking that question. This could be an interview process. What does that look like when you guys are talking with the agents in the agent mentorship program? When they're going to, approach their first client, or maybe this is for those that are listening that are maybe looking to get an agent. You're going to be wanting to ask them questions to find out what they're going to do to help you to sell or buy a home. Or again, if you're looking at investing in real estate, maybe there's some other things that you want to know about their knowledge, their background. So let's talk about some of those questions, the interview process, if you will, from both sides, as the person that might be looking to bring on an agent, and certainly some questions that an agent might have for a prospective client that they're wanting to serve and represent. So we'll begin with you, Justin.
Well, when I talk to buyers and sellers, I encourage them to interview multiple agents. I'm confident that I'll be the agent that they work with, but I encourage them to meet with multiple agents and ask, what's their level of experience. Not that that's the end all be all for whether or not you're going to get a good agent, but their level of experience is a big one. Familiarity with the market that they're going to be working in. Are they an expert in that market? Can they speak knowledgeably about the market? Are they familiar with the ins and outs and the ebbs and flows of that particular market? And also, especially for sellers, what do they intend to do to market your property to make it stand out from the other listings that are out there? How are they going to most effectively market your property? So if you're out there interviewing agents, those are three really good questions to ask, in my opinion.
Mark?
Yeah, James, I mean, and Justin touched on this, but for us on the AMP team, it's about a conversation. So if someone has indicated to me that they're interested in buying a home at some time in the future, we want to sit down and have a conversation. I'm going to sound old, but in today's age, everything happens pretty darn fast. And so that's a huge investment. It's a big dadgum deal. And we want to slow that down a little bit and just talk. So if I'm sitting down with a buyer, I want to know a whole lot more about them, because that's what's important. It is for them and their family. So we talk a lot on this platform about family. We talk quite a bit about what keeps things legal and ethical moving forward. So I want to know about the person and their pets and their family and their kids. And I want to know why. A real good question to ask is why. Why is now the time, James, when you've decided it's time to move? Things happen in life that drive a person to want to make a move. I'd like to know what is it that's driving you to do this? And then we've got some documents that people are required to sign now. Law's been changing of late, so we make sure we get those out of the way. And then it's critically important to obtain the vision from your client. Bedroom, it's the basic stuff, right? Bedrooms, baths, does it have a garage? Where is it? How much do you think it costs? If you and I were talking and you're a buying client and I'm your chosen agent or one of the agents you're interviewing, I want to know those basic things. I want to know, what have you brought to the table as the buyer as it relates to your vision? Bedrooms, baths, garage. How big is it? Do you have a sense of that? Where is it? Where do you want to live? Is it a zip code? Is it a mailing address? Is it a school system? Is it an area of town? Is it to be closer to family? And then I always ask my buying clients, how much do you think what you've just described to me is going to cost in today's market? I want to get a sense of that. And then after that, it's a team effort. As real estate agents, we're not standing outside of this transaction looking in and just, kind of concierging it. Of course we're doing that, but we're so heavily and personally involved in it that it becomes a team effort at that point. And, our buying clients they go out and get pre-qualified. We assist them. I mean, I'm making that a really short, sentence there, but they're going to go out and get pre-qualified, and we're going to start going on the hunt for their home. And we use, our MLS system to do that. So I hope that answered your question, but it's just a conversation. And where are we going? How did we get here? Why are we moving? Where are we going? And how can I be utmost assistance to help you achieve your vision? Because it's not my house.
Those are all great, and I love that approach. I just like that conversation very much. So it's not intimidating. It's building the relationship. That's what it should be. Justin, anything else? Any other specifics you want to touch base on as it relates to questions or that relationship, that conversation that the agent is having with their prospective clients?
Well, I think Mark just touched on, some of those in a really profound way. And, I like to have those conversations up front during the consultation process when I bring my buyer clients into the office and sit down and talk them through the process. And I definitely like to know what their areas of interest are. A lot of people have a real strong idea about beds and baths and square footage and, and time frame's a big one too. A lot of people, when they're looking to buy a home, they're in some cases, they're racing a lease. They have to be out by June 3rd or whatever the case may be. So we definitely have to be cognizant of that.
So when? After why, when?
Exactly. And Mark will tell you, I'm sure he'll segue on this, but as you get out there and you start to look, there's tons of examples of their needs and wants change as we're out there seeing homes. And we like to we don't like to narrow in too much because it might exclude a property that they don't know it might be the perfect property for them. So we like to cast a wide net, and it's no problem for us to go out there and show extra homes to people just to maybe this is something I'm looking for, or that's definitely something I'm not looking for. So we'll cast a wide net, and you never know how a buyer's needs or wants might change based on the properties that we're getting out there to see.
Well, that was very true for me and my wife when we were looking at our house. We, 3 or 4 houses in, we just weren't finding the right fit. And then those conversations started opening up. What are you really looking for? Like, what is it that you didn't like about 1 through 4? School systems, the retail locations, the parks, the convenience of access to the freeway and where we were working. And really, as we got into those questions, it became easier. And by the time we got to the 11th or the 12th house, we found the one we wanted. We were good. We didn't look upstairs, didn't look in the basement. We walked through the hallway, out onto the back porch, walked through the back family room, onto the back porch, saw that there was a park behind us where our kids, however many we were going to have, we're going to be able to play, and we're going to be able to sit on the deck and watch them play. That's what mattered to us. And we walked in and said, yeah, this is the house we want. And he's like, you want to see the upstairs or the basement? And we're like, or the bedrooms? And we're like, okay, but this is it. We're good.
James, I'll tell you a story. And Justin has experienced this. A lot of the AMP agents experience this. So if we're engaged with an agent and we're talking about touring houses, the experiences that we share are related to something like this. If that's a concern of the agent, which it shouldn't be, but if the concern is, how many is enough, or, how many is too many, that there is no answer to that. There aren't any number of houses that you'd want to show a potential client that are too many. But interestingly enough, the opposite side of that is we'll work with clients, and because we're on a team and we're engaged personally, and you become friends with your clients for sure. Oftentimes we've walked out of, sometimes it happens sooner rather than later, but maybe walking out of the 3rd house that we might have seen, or the 10th or the 12th or whatever, and you're standing in the driveway or standing at your car and you're talking, and I can't count the number of times that, a client or clients have looked at me and said, we're sorry that, we're just not finding it. We're taking your time. And I shut that off really fast. And I know the other AMP agents do. And I'll immediately say, look, if you see something online or from one of the houses I sent you, or you're walking down the street one day in the neighborhood you want to live in, for sale by owner, yard sign, whatever it is, just get a hold of me, text me, give me the address, I'll set it up and we'll go see it. I'd rather you see a house and eliminate it than miss out on what Justin mentioned earlier, which is that could have been the house. And it meets, it checks a lot of boxes, maybe not all of them, but it could have been the house that checked enough boxes that it would have been the one that you would have wanted to make an offer on. So our approach is, look, We'll show houses until you find the one that checks enough of your boxes, and then that'll be the one that we take action on. There is no such thing as too many.
Yeah, I literally had a client text me the other day and say, "Are we stressing you out?" and I laughed and said, "No, not at all. This is my career. This is what I do.
This is what I do for a living." Yeah. I mean, we're part psychiatrist, part marketer of real estate services, friend. I mean, there's a lot of hats that you wear as an agent. So I hope that helps you out there, and helps our audience of agents and buyers out there know, look, this is your vision, man. Where you paint it, we'll find it.
And I want to highlight, and we talked a little bit about this, and we'll continue to have these discussions about the resources and the good real estate agents that are fully equipped to assist in the marketing of those real estate services, all the things that the home buyer or seller might need in order to get that property ready. You know, just being that, I like to refer to it as the concierge of marketing real estate services, any and all those things. Because you, again, as I've said before, you were like the real estate plus guy for me, because I always knew through your networking you had all these other valuable resources. If someone was looking to have a roof estimate done, or needed to have landscaping done, or needed a surveyor, or needed someone to come in and inspect the home, any and all of those type of painters, electricians, etc., any and all of that kind of stuff, you know, that the real estate agent can be a very valuable resource in multiple areas to help that person that is trying to buy or sell the home.
There's no question that it's a team effort, and there's no question in our minds, Justin would definitely agree with this, and so would every AMP agent, and so would every Red One agent. Our work is associated with being of assistance to people. We market real estate services, and the way we capture it, it's my front license plate on my car. It's anything home, man. Anything home. There needs to be a very broad and fairly deep experience and understanding that there's a lot that goes into a home, and we want to assist you with anything home.
All right, good stuff. Time for another break so we can give our sponsors a little bit of love. Vault Title, Griffith Insurance Group, and Red One Realty. Give us 90 seconds, and when we come back, we are going to talk about those that are looking to get into the business of marketing real estate services, wanting to become a professional real estate agent and market real estate services, and understand what that means, training that's involved, the grind. We'll get into all of that next on the AMP Podcast.
Hi guys, today's episode is sponsored by Vault Title. At Vault Title, they know your home is more than just four walls. It's your investment, your future, and your dream. With our dedicated team of experts, we provide secure, reliable title and closing services that protect your most valuable asset. From the first handshake to the final signature, Vault Title is here every step of the way, making sure your closing is seamless and stress-free. Vault Title, protecting your dream, safeguarding your future. When it comes to title services, trust that team that puts you first. Vault-title.com. That's VAULT-TITLE.com.
Red One Realty, an independent brokerage founded in 2019, is redefining what it means to support agents. With nearly 1,000 agents already on board, Red One Realty offers an unbeatable combination of value and opportunity, helping agents close more deals while keeping more of their hard-earned commissions. Red One Realty sets itself apart by its commitment to exceptional training, cutting-edge technology, and unmatched support. From intensive boot camp training to Survive and Thrive training series and the Next Level Agent Mentorship Program, they provide the tools and guidance to help agents grow their business. Plus, with the multiple layers of management always ready to assist, you'll never feel like you're navigating the real estate world alone. Discover why so many agents are choosing Red One Realty to take their career to new heights at joinredonerealty.com. That's joinredonerealty.com.
The Griffith Insurance Group. They're more than just a family business. They're your family safety net. With over 34 years of combined experience, Scott and Jason know everyone is different. That's why they take the time to understand individual situations and craft their coverage that gives you peace of mind. Whether it's protecting your home, your vehicle, or your business, they're here to ensure that you're covered. At the Griffith Insurance Group, they're not just a father-son team. They're trusted partners in safeguarding your future. Experience the difference of a family-focused approach. Contact the Griffith Insurance Group today and let them help you secure your tomorrow. 740-936-4686 is the phone number, and online at griffithinsurance.net. That's Griffithinsurance.net.
Welcome back. It is the AMP Podcast, an extension of the AMP program through Red One Realty, and that is the agent mentorship platform. Justin and Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate, Justin Humphreys with Humphreys Homes. They are two of the mentors that are affiliated with not just Red One, but the AMP program that is available through Red One Realty. Now, today's episode, it's called Drive the Dream. For a lot of people, having your own business, maybe changing careers, starting something new. You know, there's a dream there. The drive behind that varies for each person, depending on what their skill set is and what that risk factor might be, even for some people starting a business. And this is a business. You run it like a business. And with that, some people don't know what that first step is. You know, you're going to get the license, or maybe you had a license and you're wanting to get back into it. Everybody can be at different places, especially those that are listening today. Maybe you're just curious about what that looks like to become a real estate agent and to be able to market real estate services. What does that mean? What kind of time is involved? What is that grind? You know, if you're going to transition from one job to another, what's that look like? So, gentlemen, let's kind of talk about that. Someone that's new, or maybe someone that's coming back into the industry. Justin, let's lead with you, sir.
As a new agent, for me, I was definitely eager, ready to learn. Knew there would be challenges, but there's challenges for anything that's worthwhile, especially growing a small business into something meaningful. So, what that looks like, I think having a supportive brokerage is very, very important, and also having a mentor that consistently achieves the goals that you wish to achieve in your business. I think those two things are extremely important. And two things I didn't really have. I had a good mentor, but I started off with a brokerage that wasn't a good fit for me. So it took me a couple of years to kind of a year and a half to figure that out. Even if you join a brokerage and you cozy up to a high producing agent that you admire, and even if you do admin assistant or do showings, help them out, work, don't worry as much about the split starting out as the experience that you're going to gain from being in that environment, because your net worth is your network. So the people around you really are going to be the deciding factor of whether or not you're going to be successful.
Say that again. I like that.
Your network is your net worth. So
I love that.
They say that you're a sum of the 5 closest people to you. So, in my career, I've tried to surround myself with the absolute best of the best, which is why I'm at Red One Realty and why I'm part of the AMP program.
Doctor, anything you want to add to that?
Just a couple things. So you're starting a business. You're self-employed. Even if you have a job or work outside of real estate, you're used to going there, punching in, doing your thing, and punching out. This is not that. The vision that somebody brings to the table when they decide at whatever point in their life, you mentioned earlier, somebody who's had their license before, maybe they want to get it again, or brand new to the business, really doesn't matter. Your business was going well and maybe it's fallen off. You want to, reinvigorate the business. All of those situations are related to understanding that you drive that boat, right? So you get up every day, you're focused on being of assistance to folks. It takes quite a bit more than you might have thought prior to running a business. You've invested a lot of time and resources to get your license. As a business person, you certainly want a return on that investment. These are things that it goes back to that now what, right? We need to be driven, understand what the high level of what it is that you're trying to achieve is, which is to be of assistance. If I could name 3 things that people tend to get caught up in. It's chasing a transaction, whether it's for a buyer or seller versus being of assistance over time. And we talk about this all the time, Justin and Amp. New agents are always short on two things, patience and money. And we want to solve those things as quickly as possible for people. So understand that you're going to be short on money and patience. If you've got a job outside of real estate, perhaps the first thing won't be a problem. But when you want to engage in real estate and you've gotten your license, you want to get moving. And AMP helps people springboard forward to get moving and build that business the right way.
Yeah, I think we we try to eliminate a lot of that stumble forward, right? That I definitely experienced,
or the fake it till you make it piece.
Yeah, we give agents confidence and trust in the fact that if they run into a situation that they're not familiar with, they've got 7 AMP leaders and over 110 other agents that have likely been through that experience and can provide a little bit of guidance for them. And I think that, like you said, that really fast tracks that career, that business, that sphere of influence to get rolling a little bit faster.
All right, good stuff. It is the AMP Podcast, an extension of the AMP program through Red One Realty, the agent mentorship platform. Each and every week, we'll be talking a little bit about real estate, a little bit about life, and a lot of everything in between. We're going to back and forth between some professional and some personal questions. So back to personal for this next question. We're going to talk about the best boss and the worst boss you ever had. You probably are okay naming your best boss, and maybe we'll use initials for our worst boss. Mark, let's start with you this time.
Best boss I ever had was Ken Armitage. Ken hired me for my first job at McDonald's. He's a dear friend to this day. Without question, he's the best boss I ever had. Now, at McDonald's, if you're not in management, you've got several bosses, but if I had to narrow it down to one, it'd be Ken Armitage. Thank you, Ken. Worst boss, his initials are JM, and it was only because there were several of us in middle management at this particular company, and I'm not today, nor was I good then at playing politics. I don't understand that game. It's very transparent for me. You know, when you surround yourself with good people like Justin and Gina and Malika and Sheila and Dana and Mark, there's a high level of trust there, and we can be very transparent with each other. And I just learned that that was not the case with that particular boss.
And for you, Justin?
Yeah, worst boss I ever had would probably be the first broker that I had. And I'm not going to mention any names. I'm going to keep it gender ambiguous, but, it was an example of how not to treat people, especially new people that have a dream of getting into a business and being successful. It was a stark contrast when I came to Red One Realty and experienced the support from Mike Hall and Ken Fairchild compared to the brokerage I started out with. It was a big difference. So that would be my worst boss that I've had. And my best boss would actually be my partner, Ashley. So when I started at Average Joe's up in Powell in 2014, she was the vice president of the company, and she was my direct manager. So she was the best boss. She still is.
Yeah, she still is. I had a tie for my best boss. 2 bosses, Hal Fish in radio, gave me my first real professional gig. And what I appreciated after I left there and went and worked for another station, I eventually went back and worked for him again because he was a great boss, was he really just gave me full reign. You know, as I developed the Viper personality that I used, my persona in radio, he let me do what I wanted, let me, grow that persona. And all the other personalities on this radio station that I worked for, he let them all do the same thing. And collectively, as a family, people that they just embodied what that station was. And so many people have told me since then, what I really liked is you guys were all so different, but you were all the same. And, anyway, it was very good. It was a great experience. My other favorite boss was Cheryl Guyman when I was in healthcare. I was working in a continuum care facility, which was nursing and assisted living and independent living, but it was all under one roof. And she taught me to, gave me the mindset, this is their home. So when it came to dietary or maintenance or housekeeping, any and all of those things. It was like, what can we do to improve their quality of life? Had a very different mindset when I approached healthcare being under her direction. And I was always very appreciative of that, even to this day. When I walk into a facility, I'm looking for smells. I'm looking at how they're handling the residents, not the patients, but the residents of that facility. My worst boss was probably while I was a director at a local media school. His initials were DF. He micromanaged. It was very difficult just in how he handled people, and seemed like he was waiting for somebody to fail or looking at things. Never wanted to step forward and help somebody, but was always that person in the back, micromanaging the way he did. Just it didn't set well with me.
Well, that's one of the things I love about real estate is that we are small business owners, and I've always had an issue with authority. I don't know why. It's just the way I was raised. And so being a small business owner has always really been, I think, the only path for me. I don't know that I could, suffer a boss for too much longer in my life. So us as small business owners, we have mentors, we have brokers, but we are our own bosses. So hopefully we can all be our own best boss.
Well, as far as upline goes or direct reports, we've got some of the best in the business as it relates to our brokers. I mean, Mike Hall, Ken Fairchild, Bob Petty, Michelle Brooks, Ken's fiance, Samantha, and Mike's wife, Heather. These are people who give us tremendous support. And you talk about transparency. 4 years ago, Mike Hall taught me very quickly that bad news will travel much faster than good news. And we had a great conversation, but I understood immediately that I could trust the folks that were running this company because they were brutally honest, fair, professional, and respectful. And that's all anybody's looking for in somebody that they report to.
And that's you touched on that there. Ken and his partner Samantha and Mike and his wife Heather, they're family, and they make the brokerage feel like a family.
Absolutely.
It doesn't feel like a place where I hang my license. It feels like a place where I know the people in charge, and I can rely on them, and they can rely on me. And it's a great atmosphere. It's one of the many reasons I love Red One Realty.
It is the AMP podcast, an extension of the AMP program through Red One Realty, the agent mentorship platform. Sponsors this week for the podcast, Vault Title, Griffith Insurance Group, and Red One Realty. When we come back, we are going to talk about the must-haves, the things that you definitely have to check off your list for any real estate transaction, whether you're the buyer, the seller, or you're just looking to invest. A lot of things involved. We're going to talk about that. And we have a very special question about dinner guest and maybe even a special quote from somebody very, very famous. Let's see if you can figure out who it's from. Thanks for listening to the AMP Podcast.
The Griffith Insurance Group. They're more than just a family business. They're your family safety net. With over 34 years of combined experience, Scott and Jason know everyone is different. That's why they take the time to understand individual situations and craft their coverage that gives you peace of mind. Whether it's protecting your home, your vehicle, or your business, they're here to ensure that you're covered. At the Griffith Insurance Group, they're not just a father-son team. They're trusted partners in safeguarding your future. Experience the difference of a family-focused approach. Contact the Griffith Insurance Group today and let them help you secure your tomorrow. 740-936-4686 is the phone number, and online at griffithinsurance.net. That's griffithinsurance.net.
Red One Realty, an independent brokerage founded in 2019, is redefining what it means to support agents. With nearly 1,000 agents already on board, Red One Realty offers an unbeatable combination of value and opportunity, helping agents close more deals while keeping more of their hard-earned commissions. Red One Realty sets itself apart by its commitment to exceptional training, cutting-edge technology, and unmatched support. From intensive boot camp training to Survive and Thrive training series and the Next Level Agent Mentorship Program, they provide the tools and guidance to help agents grow their business. Plus, with the multiple layers of management always ready to assist, you'll never feel like you're navigating the real estate world alone. Discover why so many agents are choosing Red One Realty to take their career to new heights at joinredonerealty.com. That's joinredonerealty.com. RedOneRealty.com.
Hi, guys. Today's episode is sponsored by Vault Title. At Vault Title, they know your home is more than just four walls. It's your investment, your future, and your dream. With our dedicated team of experts, we provide secure, reliable title and closing services that protect your most valuable asset. From the first handshake to the final signature, Vault Title is here every step of the way, making sure your closing is seamless and stress-free. Vault Title, protecting your dream, safeguarding your future. When it comes to title services, trust that team that puts you first. Vault-title.com. That's VAULT-TITLE.com.
All right, we are back. You are listening to the AMP podcast. It is an extension of the AMP program through Red One Realty, which is the agent mentorship platform. Joining me here around the table, the Doctor of Real Estate, Mark Dandrea, and Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes. This is a podcast that covers everything about real estate, real life, and anything and everything in between, as you have heard over the recent episodes. And I just want to encourage you, or request actually, that you share the AMP podcast with your friends and family on your social media channels, especially if someone is looking to buy or sell a home, or maybe someone's looking to get into the real estate industry, wanting to market real estate services. This is the podcast that they can listen to. Now, this week's program title is Driving the Dream. Our sponsors this week, Vault Title and Griffith Insurance Group. Any title services you might need, please consider Vault Title, and any insurance needs you might have for home or auto or your toys, your boats, your motorcycles, please consider the Griffith Insurance Group. And we want to get your personal contact information out as well. So, Justin, we'll start with you.
You can find me at justin@humphreys-homes.com. Also, Humphreys at Humphreys Homes on Facebook, at Humphreys_homes on Instagram. And my phone number where you can reach me 24/7 is 740-275-1277.
And Doctor?
MarkDandrea.RedOneRealty.com. That's red, R-E-D, the number 1realty.com. Email, and then I can be reached 24/7 as well at 614-395-6275.
All right, gentlemen, this next question really can apply to owners and agents. Obviously, a lot of people involved in the transaction, of course, for buying or selling a home or investing in real estate. What are some of those things that you just, the absolute must, you have to button down, or things that you're going to look for, make sure the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, all of those things? What are some of those things that we absolutely have to be aware of and stay focused to make sure those things get done? Doctor, I'm going to start with you this time.
James, there are a number of parties associated with a real estate transaction. So one of the great services that AMP agents, Justin, myself, and other Red One agents provide is a concierge to those. So you think about the number of people involved. If you're selling a home, you've got your selling client, the buying client, their agents. You've got title people. You have home inspectors. You have appraisers. There's a lot of moving parts. Homeowners insurance, scheduling the closing, scheduling the possession date. You know, the difference between closing and possession. You close on a house, all the documents get signed by both the parties. They may have negotiated up front that, hey, you know, we're going to be closed and funded, but we're not going to give you the house for another 3 or 5 days or longer. So you got to help your clients figure that out. When do we get the keys? One of the things that there's two things that get missed. One, utilities. Well, through the date of possession, the seller's responsible for their utilities. After that, it's your buying client's responsibility to make sure those are in your name. So we make sure that we get the utility company name, something as simple as that, to our buying clients from the selling agent. And then the other thing that's important, really little detailed stuff. You know, you want to show up at closing with your unexpired driver's license or ID. It's important. So wiring of funds, making sure the money's there at the closing table. There's a lot that goes into a real estate transaction, and we concierge all of that for both our buyers and sellers.
And then from the agent side, as they look to build their Rolodex or fill their toolbox with all the vendors and the referrals that they might need to provide that service and that assistance to their clients, what are some of the things that you guys are helping them with through Red One or through the AMP program?
As a part of the Agent Mentor platform at Red One Realty, every agent, whether they're new or brand new, have a couple years in, they all have access to our trusted vendors and contract lists. That's part of our software, our platform that we use to support agents called Circle. And on those lists, they can find vetted referrals for everything from roof to basement. And those are vetted contractors. Those aren't just, people that paid to be there. Those are people that we have great experiences with and that our clients have had great experiences with. And I know, Mark, you spec'd and built your house, and, I've been a part of several rehabs and renovations, and we probably have 2 or 3 options for everything you might need, from roof to basement. So as a member of the AMP team, you're going to have access to all of those trusted vendors, contractors, everything that you or your clients could really need or ask for.
So in my industry, for media marketing and advertising, I tell the clients that I work with, we got to find a way to get you in front of your targeted audience a minimum of once a month, if not 2 or 3 times. So in your industry, and looking at the world of real estate and those that are marketing real estate services and agents, new agents, old agents, those that are considering the business, what are some of those things that you're talking about during AMP of what they can do, things that they can do to be top of mind for the vendors they're working with, so that if a vendor hears somebody that's looking for somebody to buy or sell or invest in real estate, they can think of you. And or if you have a client that needs something specific when they're about to stage their home or need to do something with landscaping, roofing, windows, etc., what are those things that agent, becomes that concierge, that professional concierge as they're marketing those real estate services, and that they have people that want to reach out to them because hey, I know that Sally, has great connections with whatever. What are those things that you're instilling in the AMP program for the agents? Justin?
Yeah, I talk to a lot of them. Networking groups is big. Here in Central Ohio, we've got some great opportunities for networking. I want to give a shout out to the Cream Facebook group page. It's a Red One agent, David Perichin, who actually founded the Cream, and the Cream in Central Ohio is the go-to place to get in contact with contractors, with wholesalers, with hard money lenders, with everybody related to real estate. The CREAM is an acronym. It stands for Columbus Real Estate and Money, I believe is what the acronym stands for. And I've met some of the best, I have developed some of the best relationships I have with contractors and vendors through that site. So they do meetups every month. Coin is another one that does meetups. So networking groups is a great place to get in touch and go out and shake hands with these people as well. And I encourage, any agents out there to take part in that, take advantage of it. Go have a free sandwich and a beer and sit down and trade stories and trade cards with these people and just get to know them. And like I said, your network is your net worth. So always expanding that network is very important.
Mark, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'm involved with a networking group called AMP. I'm in love with AMP and Red One. That's a great network. My family's a great network. I think I would, in speaking to agents in particular, you mentioned staying in touch and touch points. There are, with the invent of the internet, there are so many ways that you can effectively stay in touch with people and offer them services that are unrelated to the purchase of a home. Again, I know we keep coming back to this theme, but it's just a central theme to the AMP program, which is, look, we meet as agents, we meet a lot of people. I mean, you may have come into the business and know a lot of people. No, maybe not. Maybe you're not from here. You moved here and you got your license, but you meet a lot of people, and it's very important to be curious and give information related to real estate. Of course, get information which would allow you to stay in touch. There's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp. We have a very powerful CRM with Red One called Bold Trail. Yes, every agent that works with us sends out a monthly newsletter. We reach out and chat with people throughout the year, if it's on the holidays or maybe it's seasonal. We get phone calls all the time from our clients talking about something they got in the mail. So our work is related to being top of mind and top of consciousness for a large group of people that we consider friends, because we want to be there for them, again, to answer the question, anything home. So there are a tremendous number of touch points for an agent to stay in touch with their clientele.
And we've talked about this as well, but for someone getting into the real estate industry, a lot of times their point of entry is part-time. They're doing other things, right?
So on the AMP platform, there are about 113 of us now. I would say fully 85 to 90% of our agents have work outside of real estate. That, however, does not define them as a part-time agent. In fact, when I used to recruit at Hondros, and Nick Charlton does it for us now at Red One, he's an outstanding guy. Everybody loves him. He's just a really good guy. I used to stand there behind our table set up by Red One, and you'd have all the other brokers in the room. And James, to be frank with you, it would break my heart when I'd hear another broker talk to the potential agent. They're at Hondros, they're getting their license, and say, we only want to work with, and I'm using air quotes, full-time agents. I don't understand that. I don't agree with the concept. Because you have work outside of real estate doesn't mean that you're a part-time real estate agent. Those two are disconnected in many ways. There's a lot of hard work that goes into being of assistance to a person when they're going through a real estate transaction. And let's just drill down on that for a minute. You mentioned earlier that, folks that are getting into the real estate business, perhaps to make it a career. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of real estate agents that will not make their career in real estate. We have nurses, physical therapists, we have custom furniture builders, HVAC technicians,
Active military,
teachers. We've got dozens of different disciplines that's what they do for a living, so to speak. I'm not going to ask any of those people to leave that profession to be in real estate. And for them to ever think of themselves as part-time because they have work outside of real estate is just a misnomer. It's just not true. It takes an incredible amount of physical, emotional work to build a career in real estate. And if you were going to use that part-time moniker for folks, then we're all part-time because we all have a family. And that's where your work is and your job is and your faith is and your comfort is. We all have a social life. We spend time with our families and our friends. Many of us have a faith in a higher power, but even if it's in yourself, you're still spending time in that area of your life. So those are three big chunks of your life outside of your work, in our case, real estate. We're all part-time then. So I know that sounds a little bit hyperbolic. I don't mean it to. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. And to answer your question, three things: communicate, nurture, and grow trust in the folks that you engage with every day. And those folks, when the time is right in their life to make a decision, to make a move, you will be top of mind and top of conscious. So communicate, nurture, grow trust, offer these services unrelated to a transaction. How offended would you be if the agent that helped you buy your home 27 years ago, that they reached out to you only to ask you, when you go to buy or sell a house, please get a hold of me. And that was their only interest. That's not what we're in this for. We're interested in the people and their families. And look, with exception, so I don't get in trouble by anybody who calls in or dials in, say some people are homeless. I understand that. Everybody has a home they go back to. It's either an apartment or condo or a single family home. That's what this is about. It's about your home, man. So there you go.
All right, time for another quick 90-second break for our sponsors, Vault Title, Griffith Insurance Group, and certainly Red One Realty. When we come back, we are going to talk a little bit more about the AMP program, the Agent Mentorship Platform. Also, we got a rapid-fire question that's going to deal with the guest that you might bring to a dinner party. All that when we come back. It is the AMP Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Hi, guys. Today's episode is sponsored by Vault Title. At Vault Title, they know your home is more than just four walls. It's your investment, your future, and your dream. With our dedicated team of experts, we provide secure, reliable title and closing services that protect your most valuable asset. From the first handshake to the final signature, Vault Title is here every step of the way, making sure your closing is seamless and stress-free. Vault Title, protecting your dream, safeguarding your future. When it comes to title services, trust that team that puts you first. Vault-title.com. That's VAULT red1-title.com.
Red One Realty, an independent brokerage founded in 2019, is redefining what it means to support agents. With nearly 1,000 agents already on board, Red One Realty offers an unbeatable combination of value and opportunity, helping agents close more deals while keeping more of their hard-earned commissions. Red One Realty sets itself apart by its commitment to exceptional training, cutting-edge technology, and unmatched support. From intensive boot camp training to Survive and Thrive training series and the Next Level Agent Mentorship Program, they provide the tools and guidance to help agents grow their business. Plus, with the multiple layers of management always ready to assist, you'll never feel like you're navigating the real estate world alone. Discover why so many agents are choosing Red One Realty to take their career to new heights at joinred1realty.com. That's joinred1realty.com.
The Griffith Insurance Group. They're more than just a family business. They're your family safety net. With over 34 years of combined experience, Scott and Jason know everyone is different. That's why they take the time to understand individual situations and craft their coverage that gives you peace of mind. Whether it's protecting your home, your vehicle, or your business, they're here to ensure that you're covered. At the Griffith Insurance Group, they're not just a father-son team. They're trusted partners in safeguarding your future. Experience the difference of a family-focused approach. Contact the Griffith Insurance Group today and let them help you secure your tomorrow. 740-936-4686 is the phone number, and online at griffithinsurance.net. That's griffithinsurance.net.
All right, welcome back to the AMP Podcast. My name is James Bencher. Joining me around the table, we got Mark Dandrea, the Doctor of Real Estate, Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes. They are with Red One Realty. Our sponsors, we have Vault Title and we have Griffith Insurance Group. We should also thank Red One Realty. Now, when we talk about the AMP program, the agent mentorship platform that you guys have available, a very powerful tool. We're going to be going through a lot of this over the weeks and the months ahead, but extensive training for agents that are either new to the industry, maybe new to Red One Realty. But do you guys allow people that are maybe outside of Red One, agents that are possibly interested in Red One, to come in and audit the AMP program?
We love that. We encourage agents from outside brokerages, agents that aren't licensed yet, future potential agents to come and sit in. You can reach Mark at any of his contact. You can reach me at my contact, 740-275-1277. Just give us a call and we'll get you set up. I mean, we've said it a few times and we'll say it again. We've got 4 Tuesdays a month, 2 Thursdays, and 1 Saturday. That's seven training sessions per month. We're also doing live office hours. Mark does Sunday, Gina does Monday, I do Thursday. There's a multitude of touch points where anybody that's interested in AMP, interested in Red One, interested in the business, and just wants to learn a little bit, maybe they're not sure, maybe they have a dream that they want to go after and they don't know where to start, just reach out to us. We encourage and we love when people come and sit in on our training sessions, because it's very obvious very fast that we care about the people that are involved in this program, with our brokerage, with our platform, and it's truly a family. So yeah, feel free, stop by. Our door is always open. And if people want to learn more or want to reach out, you can always visit agentmentorship.net if you need more information.
Very good. All right, as we look to land this plane and close out the show, we're going to do it with some rapid fire questions. The first, living or dead. Give me 3 people that you're going to invite to could be a holiday party, but any festival, any dinner party that you might be hosting. Mark, we'll start with you.
Living or dead?
Living or dead?
My mom.
All right.
John F. Kennedy. And if I go way back, it would be either Leonardo da Vinci, I'm going to give you 4, or Socrates.
I'll dial in on the last 2. Why Leonardo and why Socrates?
Leonardo da Vinci, my opinion, all that I've read, all that I've watched, genius, just a cool dude, obviously extraordinarily talented. He's just a favorite historical character of mine. I think Socrates for the same reason. Smart, political. I like those folks.
Very brave too. Those two,
Yeah,
especially in a
Socrates.
time where you could get your head cut off for having ideas that were a little bit outside of the box. Those guys were revolutionary.
Oh, without a doubt. And John F. Kennedy, I think, we haven't talked about politics. We will, I'm sure, but I'll just make this clear. I'm center right. John F. Kennedy was probably one of the best presidents I think we've had in this country. I believe that. And that dude was definitely left. I had admired the energy and the commitment he brought to the office. And I think he truly was someone who was there to be of service to our country. He asked that famous question. I'm not going to try to quote it. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. What a great question. So, yeah, I'm a mama's boy, so that's why I want my mom.
Me too. Justin, how about you?
John Kennedy probably would have been one of mine as well.
Yeah, I stole that, didn't I?
Yeah, he would have been I think he would have been just a good time too.
Yes.
I think they knew how to have a good time. But I'd say Muhammad Ali. I'd like to have him at a dinner party. 25-year-old Muhammad Ali, probably not so much Parkinson's Muhammad Ali towards the end of his career, but he was, man, what an electric character. Just he had a real aura about him. He was an outspoken, educated, tough guy in a time and place in our country where it was kind of taboo for him to be that because he was African American, but great fighter, great personality. I mean, I almost like watching him on talk shows as much as I like watching his highlights in the ring. If you watch him on like Dick Cabot and all these shows, he was incredible. He would scare you and make you laugh in the same sentence. So Muhammad Ali would be one. I love movies, and I've gotten on a thing lately where I'm listening to Quentin Tarantino break down other movies that I love. So Quentin Tarantino would be a number 2 for me. Just to, just having that character around talking movies with him, I think would be a blast. And my grandfather as well. So my grandfather passed away in 2021, and I'd love to get your guys' perspective on this. As we get older, there's these staples that keep our families together, and as people pass away, those kind of go away. So my grandfather would be one to answer the question. I have a question for you guys. What's the secret to keeping, when you have a gravitational, like your grandmother's house where everybody goes to have Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, when those people pass away, what is the best way to keep that alive so that your cousins and your sisters and brothers, everybody doesn't just go out into the wind and do their own holiday things?
You or me, James, doesn't matter.
Well, for me, I just think you have to be intentional. We all have families that are growing, and when we grow and move out of state, it becomes more and more difficult. You just have to make a conscious effort to stay in touch, as we've talked about earlier, not just at that time for the holidays, but throughout the year, just to drop a line and then to coordinate that event, whatever it might be, so that everybody's getting together for those 1 or 2 times a year and keep those traditions alive. Mark?
Growing up, my brother and sister and I fondly recall July 4th picnics. These always took place at my Uncle Joe and Aunt Alberta's, couple of different farms that they had, and every year, 4th of July, the entire clan would get together. Now, grandparents pass away, Uncle Joe passed away, Aunt Alberta doesn't want to, continue that. I think she might have for a year or 2 afterwards, so forgive me, Aunt Alberta, if I got that wrong. So my Aunt Patty and Uncle Bill took over, and we started, having the 4th of July picnics there, and that went on for quite a few years, and that has finally fallen off as the younger kids get older and have their own kids. But part of the answer has to be, and you said it earlier, be intentional. Justin, have everything at your house. My wife will have people over for any reason at any time, any birthday, any anniversary, any football game, certainly at Christmas or Thanksgiving. So she's just wonderful about having folks gather at our house. Now, part of it is, our kids grew up with some great kids, great families out in the Sunbury area. And that was kind of a rotating thing because, all the kids would want to go to the various places, but oftentimes they'd end up at our house in the basement. Dudes would with Garrett, or all the ladies would, or girls would with Arden. And that's just continued. Now these kids are married. They're having kids of their own. My wife and I are still inviting them over for whatever they want to come over for. So be intentional and make it your place.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. What about you, James? What are your 3?
Well, I would definitely have Jesus Christ at the table. I got a lot of questions. He would definitely be at the table. My grandfather, he passed away in his late 60s, and I remember as a kid, he just ran circles around all the kids. He had so much energy, and he was just a very hardworking individual, and he built a couple businesses without pagers, without fax machines, etc. So his hustle, his drive, I appreciate that now more than I ever did as a kid, for sure. And then the third one at the table is probably going to be a president that I would pick. And there's several presidents, but I might go all the way back to Abraham Lincoln, where, he was president while the country was divided. A lot of things went on. He had a lot, and obviously part of that led to his demise and his death, ultimately, I'm sure.
Abe Lincoln was a big guy too, right? He was like 6'5".
Yeah, 6'5", 6'6", for sure.
Which was unusual, not only for at the country at that time, but especially for a president. And you find that with a lot of CEOs and leaders that a lot of, I don't know, it's just a quality, big tall guys that command big presence. Yeah.
All right, I think we are going to close with that. We've gone over on time for this week, so we'll save the stuff we didn't get to this week for next week. Thanks for listening to the AMP Podcast. This week's episode titled Driving the Dream. Look for that wherever you get your podcast for the AMP Podcast and all of the episodes that we'll have for you. Join us again next week as we continue to address anything and everything about real estate, real life, and anything and everything in between with the Doctor of Real Estate, Mark Dandrea, and Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes. Want to thank our sponsors today, Vault Title and Griffith Insurance Group. Again, if you're looking for anything with title services, please consider Vault Title, and anything for insurance, home, auto, your toys, your boats, your motorcycles, called Griffith Insurance Group. And that's a wrap for this episode, Driving the Dream. Join us again next week as we continue to address everything about real estate, real life, and anything and everything else in between, with the Doctor of Real Estate, Mark Dandrea, and Justin Humphreys of Humphreys Homes. My name is James Mentor with Buckeye Media Services. Until next time, remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. You guys know who that quote's from?
Richard Simmons.
Walt Disney.
Sorry.
Disney, yes.
Richard Simmons. He might have stolen it.
For Mark and Justin, I'm James. Have a great week.
See you, James. Thanks.
Richard Simmons.